Today you have to listen to my video until the end because it's very important to me. And why is it important? Because I want you to give me a feedback about this video, about the topic, about how do you like this content? Is it something that you are learning here? Like, why are you coming here? Did the YouTube algorithm recommend it to my channel, or you saw it somewhere else? Or maybe you're one of the 82 subscribers and you got reminded in your account that I have started, I've launched a new video. Why I want to know all of this? Because I want to continue developing my channel. I want to talk about different topics, and I'm still in the middle of this whole content creation situation. Today I have a few topics that I have to tell you everything about. They range from my startup journey. I really don't like the word journey. Shall we call it startup adventure? Little chaos with the accelerator program, then a big topic about content creation, and last but not least, about creativity and creative process. Here's the startup update. As me and my co-founder about to begin the accelerator program, which I'm not even sure that I want to disclose the name, as day by day this accelerator program loses its credibility. First, this whole process, the whole application process was very vague. Every time they kind of rejected us, they put us to the next round. And when they rejected, seemingly, us from the last round, next day, like the day after that, the day after the rejection, they contacted us and they invited us to the program. Then, last week, we came to the accelerator headquarters, which is the co-working space here in Berlin, to sign the contract, but they told us that they were not ready to sign the contract because the Senate of Berlin, which is sponsoring this whole program, did not send the money. Okay, we decided to wait, and officially they confirmed to us that officially we will start the program on October 1st and therefore sign the contract on September 30th. Then, yesterday, I received a call from the person who is managing the program, the director, CEO of the program, who said that the people from the Senate have created a little commission, and that next week, me and my co-founder, we go through another formality, which is like informal/formal application process interview. Apparently the people from the Senate, they just want to be sure what startups they're getting into the program, and we need to do this 15-minute pitch and Q&A session again. I'm not even mentioning this whole back and forth that we have with the program about documents of my co-founder and about the whole process for her, because she's a non-EU citizen. It's really bad. It's really bad. My takeaway from this, that the accelerator program doesn't have a lot of processes put in place, at least when it comes to the what's this called? Like, we haven't even started our onboarding, and there are no clear processes. There is no clear communication. They don't answer to our emails. For example, they called to me instead of calling to my co-founder to tell me something that I needed to tell to my co-founder. Wouldn't it be easier to email her or call her directly? Anyway, it's a total mess. So, day by day, this program loses its credibility, but on the other hand, we decided we're going to use it, we will do our best, and we will just do what we want to do with our idea, with the project, with the product. And we are ready for conflict, because there probably will be conflict. And not because we are not doing something, but because this accelerator program is completely incompetent. It looks like all German institutions are a total mess. Last week, I contacted a bunch of different organizations which supposed to help women entrepreneurs. I counted 11 organizations which I contacted. I found their contacts on the website of the German Bundestag, a list of companies which are either private or those sponsored by state, which work with women entrepreneurs. I wanted to clarify some legal and financial situation with them. So it turns out none of these organizations had a good answer for me, because one organization answered that they don't speak English. Very well. The other organization answered to us that they don't work with early stage startups, they worked with real companies. Then a bunch of other organizations answered that they cannot answer these particular questions, but here's the link to the organization which can answer. And then a few moments later, I receive an email from these other organizations which says, no, we don't answer these questions, you go and check with them. And so it was a total mess. First of all, I don't know why so many organizations exist and why they're so powerless. I don't know. They cannot help, they cannot answer the questions, and more importantly, they don't know what the others are doing. It seems like a total mess. Nobody would think about Germany, right? That there is such a chaos in something very simple, like providing guidance to women entrepreneurs. I really don't know what's wrong with that. Big question mark. So I have a lot of questions about the structure and about this whole ecosystem. No clue why this is not working. This week and next week we will probably continue this mess. I hope that by September 30th we will sign the contract and start our program as agreed with the accelerator program. Watch the space, I will keep you updated. Meanwhile, I connected with 3 women. So 2 of these women are VCs and one of them is a founder, with a 16-year-old experience. I found them through LinkedIn and I asked them to be my mentors. 2 of them answered positively and I will have calls with both of them tomorrow. One of them said that she didn't have the bandwidth, but she would be happy to answer my questions via email, which she already did. This is a good start. All 3 women are based in different countries. One is in Berlin, one is in Paris, and one is in Kyiv. I hope to get very interesting perspectives from these women. Looking forward to working with them and to learning more about how to become a more confident and successful woman entrepreneur. Maybe then I can create my own organization which will actually answer the questions to those who need to know. At least for 12 years, I've been thinking a lot about content creation. Every time I did some sort of live design exercise or when I had to write about my perfect day, my perfect occupation, content creation came over and over again. First of all, I'm not somebody who can be interested in one topic for a very long time. I have a wide range of interest, hence this YouTube channel and all these scattered topics which range from startup creation to painting and to reading and crafting, you name it. Every time I discovered something through any of this interest, I wanted to share, but I never felt comfortable enough for two reasons. First, I never felt to be an expert enough to share something. And second of all, I didn't feel like my English was good enough to share it with others. Let me focus a little bit on both topics. First, about not being an expert. Since I'm little, I'm always interested in something and I'm doing a variety of things. I never stuck with only one activity or one hobby. I have at least 5 or 6 different things going in parallel. For instance, now, like this week, I'm practicing various hobbies. I am knitting and I'm sewing. I'm singing. I'm doing Thai boxing. I am dancing tango. On top of that, one of my interests is content creation and philosophy, literature, digital marketing, AI. And all of these topics are mixing and matching in this apartment every day from morning to night. I'm constantly learning something. I'm constantly talking about these topics. Oh, I forgot language learning, German and hopefully soon Japanese. Yeah, so there are tons of things that are happening in my head, in this apartment, on my laptop, and I want to share all of them. Once in my life, I had a blog about sewing. It was back in the day when I lived in Japan and I didn't know anyone. I came to the country where I didn't speak the language, I didn't know people, and I started blogging about sewing because I felt less isolated and I felt that I was connecting to the global sewing enthusiast. Okay, back to our sheep. All this range of topics I felt didn't allow me to become proficient in any of them. I felt like I'm mediocre in each of these topics and I am never digging deep enough. Okay, when I need to, I can explore the topic quite deep, but I cannot stay there for a long time. At the time, I thought that it was something horrible, that it was abnormal. Turned out I'm not the only one. Turned out there are many people like me who have multiple interests. There is even a book about this which is called Scanners and Divers. Scanners are people like me who scan different things and who are touching upon different interests and topics. And divers are those who go very, very deep into something. For instance, brain surgeons or researchers who can focus for a very long time on a very specific thing. Because of lack of this so-called expertise, I always felt not good enough, not I repeat myself, not being expert enough. And I felt that my knowledge is not needed because it's so superficial. And I was wrong. I thought that to become an expert, you need this 10,000 hours or what have you, that you need to have a certificate, that you need to have a diploma, that you need the proof with a stamp to show your expertise. Yes, I was wrong. Some time ago, I listened to an interview, which I will also link down below. In this interview, I heard something very interesting for me. To be a good content writer or content maker, you don't need to be an expert, because in reality, people do not need experts. they need somebody who is just a few steps ahead of them so that they can learn from them. As an example, I look at myself. I am a beginner founder with very minimal experience who are just starting this startup adventure. I can talk, of course, with somebody who has years and years of experience to be a founder, who raised millions and trillions and zillions, but the goals that I have versus the goals that they have are very different, and there is a huge gap between what I need and what they currently are doing. So it doesn't make sense. What would benefit me though is to get in touch and to connect with founders who just only starting to get their first customers, because the gap between us is smaller and they still remember all of these pain points that I am currently about to embark upon. The suggestion from this person to an aspiring content writer or content creator was: if you want to create content, you need to think about all of the topics that you explored for the last 2 years, write a list, and identify 3 that you can be comfortable writing about, and then you will become known for these 3 topics. This morning I did this exercise, and here is the list of topics and problems that I've solved. Okay, so the question goes like this: what are all of the problems I've solved and topics I've learned about over the last 2 years? And here's a list of topics, and probably I have missed something. Everything about my body, good dating strategy, self-confidence, dealing with menopause, content creation, benefits and use of AI tools for digital marketing and content creation, learned how to focus, learned what is it startup at early stage, networking, started building a personal brand, cooking in a small kitchen, filming and editing, improved my writing practice, public speaking, singing, improved my journaling and morning pages, got really good at tango dancing, Thai boxing, and information about business in Germany. These topics are not exhaustive, but I didn't want to think for too long. And then I narrowed them down to 3 topics that I would feel quite comfortable talking about. They are self-confidence, content creation, and startup/business creation. And if I were more specific, I would say that the 3 topics I'm quite confident talking about are: how to build self-confidence for women who have negative image of their body. This is an example, or this is rather a result of my dealing with cancer and mastectomy and all the multiple surgeries that I went through. I think that I've done a really good job. I conquered all the fears and all the little dummy voices in my head, and from feeling very low, I now feel very confident, and I can teach this to other women on my own example. Next topic is content creation for those who don't know what to do in their current career as a potential side business. And the last topic is how to start a business for women. I decided that for the next few weeks I will be taking these topics and try to spin them on LinkedIn and also on my YouTube channel, and I will see what makes sense for me, what makes sense for you, what kind of content are you reacting to, and what kind of content is easy and enjoyable for me to produce. That was the reason I asked you to watch this video until the end. I really need your feedback. So there were two topics with which I was not comfortable about. So first, I wasn't comfortable with this fact that I'm not an expert. And I just had this super long, hopefully not very boring speech about how I'm going to deal with this. Yes, I'm not an expert, but I know quite a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure that as little as I know can be beneficial to somebody out there. I'm pretty sure that I can create something that will make a difference in somebody's life. And second, I wasn't comfortable with the fact that I'm not an English speaker. And in general, the language of my content writing and creation was a big problem for me. Currently, I can create content in 5 languages quite comfortably. Ukrainian and French are still the languages that I consider using for content creation. But then, in the course of the last 12 or so years, this question was quite a hot topic for me, right? I wanted to address to my fellow Ukrainian citizens. I wanted to tell them everything about my experience. I left Ukraine quite early. I was 21, 2001. I was one of the first people in my close circle in Ukraine who left abroad. I thought that I was so much ahead of them, so I could give something back to my home country and to the people who live there, who may benefit. But then I wasn't sure that it was needed. Then I thought about French, but the same as English, I didn't feel like French was my native language and that I would be credible enough. Even though I feel much more credible in French than in English. So this language of the content was constantly on top of my head. And whilst Ukrainian is my native tongue, where I don't have the accent, I know grammar and I know vocabulary, I felt that this was not very much needed. When it comes to the English, because I decided, okay, English is the most spoken and consumed language on the internet, so I will reach more people with English. But in English, I have a foreign accent, I don't know grammar so well, and my vocabulary is quite restrictive. Oh my god, all of this dilemma, and it led me to analysis paralysis. So for the last 12 years, I was incapacitated to produce any decent content because I didn't feel good enough. And it goes back to the first point. In the first point, I didn't feel expert enough, well, I didn't feel good enough, and in the second one, I felt, oh, my English is so crooked. I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel good enough about myself. Oh my god, and this is so bad. This is so bad because we are our worst judges. Honestly, I am happy to listen to somebody who can teach me something, and I don't care about the accent. To make the long story short, I was my own enemy. I was my worst judge. I didn't take action because of that for 12 years. And now I feel empowered to talk about what I want because I feel, even though I'm not an expert, I am way ahead of somebody else. And I feel also empowered to use the language which is not my native. Here you go, take it or leave it. Last weekend I had a friend over who is also Ukrainian, who lives in Berlin, and we talked about this situation with the content in English. And please correct me if I'm wrong. We have so much content in English, but the majority of this content is created by native English speakers who come from the Western world. And as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, when I turn to podcasts or books or any kind of content that I want to learn for myself, I mainly see white men from the Bay Area who hang out in this white man club, talking to each other, giving advice to each other, writing books for each other, and inviting for each other to their podcasts and shows. Oh my God, not only do we hear from this man, but we also hear from their world. We hear rarely some good quality information about countries and people who are not English speakers, as if these places and people did not exist. Let's start with something that everybody consumes almost daily or weekly: music. Ask yourself a question. What is the language of the music that I'm consuming? I bet that the majority of titles are in English. How many other languages do you consume on a daily basis? I'm actually interested how many of you are native English speakers. Please write in the comment what is your native language and what other languages are you speaking. I'm very curious to know. Then, what other kind of information are you consuming in different languages? Does it mean that the music in Arabic or Turkish or Swahili is worst? No. Maybe sometimes even better, but we don't know it because this is very foreign to us. We're not used to this. We're not used to accepting this and we're not used to dealing with this kind of stuff. And why? This is a very good question. I cannot answer to it straight away. Same goes for different thinkers and writers. In the last video, I talked to you about my favorite French writer of the moment. Not all of her books are translated into English or other languages. And of course, if there is no translation, nobody will know about this writer. Then it will most like this writer doesn't exist. But I'm telling you, the quality of her writing is tenfold better than some of the New York best-selling list writers. I don't have the answer to these questions, but it's very good to start the conversation. And whatever you think about this topic, please write down in the comments. I want to amplify the voice of minorities like women and Ukrainians and people with different and original stories who are not heard in this ocean of English-speaking Bay Area, white man clubs, content creation stuff. I don't know if you are with me on this. Again, really interested to hear what you think about this. Please write your comment, like this video if you want to help me share and spread the content to more and more people. I am still in the beginning of my journey. I'm still finding my unique voice and I'm still exploring all of these topics that I mentioned like earlier, all of these 25,000 topics that I want to talk about. Yesterday, I had an urge to creating this. These are Japanese traditional clothes, slippers. They're called Nuno Zori. They look like this. Again, I will show you a video with some examples of this. Nuno Zori When I lived in Japan, I bought this book. First of all, I have a pair of Nuno Zori already. But I bought this book because I thought this is an incredible way to recycle fabric and make something that you're actually going to use every day. Because to make Nuno Zori, you need two things, well, actually three. You need a rope, you need fabric, and you need your hands. That's pretty much it. I can show you the position of somebody who makes here. That's how you make Nuno Zori. You can, of course, use different gadgets to hold the rope, but in general, this is very easy and fun. I will just put a video on top of my voice to show you how beautiful this Nuno Zori are. There are 3 or 4 pairs that I would like to make for myself and for friends. I want to start with something very simple to be able to just to get a hack of it. And once I become better, I think this is an incredible present. And not only this is an incredible present, this is also a very useful thing to have. So, friends, if you're watching this YouTube video, you will know what you get for Christmas. And next week I plan to do my first pair of Nuno Zori, because this week I am busy, ladies and gentlemen. I will document everything and show you. From the moment I started thinking about Nuno Zori, it was yesterday about 10 p.m. I got so hyped. I took the magazine. I was sitting in bed. I was looking at different types of Nuno Zori, and I was like, oh my god, I was already planning what I want to do, what colors. I opened my fabric stash. I thought about a dress that I want to recycle and to make from this dress a pair of Nuno Zori. Oh my god, I could not focus. And that actually goes to my scanner character type. I cannot go deep into something because I'm easily getting distracted, and I actually like to be very easily distracted. And now I know myself. Now I'm on this wave, on top of this wave of Nuno Zori making. Yeah, so now I'm extremely excited about all of this Nuno Zori situation. I will be watching tons of YouTube videos probably. I will be reading this magazine. I will go to a shop and I will buy a few meters of rope and I will start creating stripes from fabric. So then next week, when I have the time, I have everything. I know all the information. I have watched the majority of tutorials, and then next week I will be ahead of you, those who don't know how to do this. You see how easy it is? It looks like everything makes sense. This video makes sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment. I really want to know several things. I want to know what is your native language? What other languages are you speaking? What are the topics that you are not an expert, but maybe 2 years ahead of somebody else? And do this exercise like I did this morning. Write a list of topics that you feel comfortable with, something that you've learned in the last 2 years, or some kind of problems that you resolved. Don't be shy to share your voice in whatever language is it. And if it's not your native language, don't shy away. Your accent does not matter. And if you know grammar, you can use Grammarly or any other AI tool. But your voice matters and you can share it. On this positive note, I wish you a good day, good luck, and see you in the next video.